Break. Onyx, come here. Hey guys, as your Chilled Canine, let's talk about personal protection dogs. Selection, training, so on and so forth. A lot of people talk about this topic, especially on the internet. You know, the internet can be your best friend or your worst enemy, because there's a lot of good information on there and then there's a lot of misinformation, and you kind of really have to know what you're talking about in order to be able to weed out the good from the bad, or have at least a good common sense about things. So, you know, I see a lot of people, I just shake my head at some of the stuff people write about how they would train a personal protection dog, or what kind of dog they would sell. Onyx, come here. Anyways, yeah, it's one of those things where it just completely boggles my mind what some people write. It's like, the most important thing if you're gonna be selling personal protection dogs, right, is that you have to understand your clientele, okay? You have to understand your clientele. You have to understand what their needs are, what their wants are, what their lifestyle is, and then you have to be able to match the right dog to that situation. Because I think a lot of people view dogs as generic. Oh, it's a German Shepherd, put whatever, they're going to put their training on it and it's going to be perfect for me. That's not true. Okay, whether it's a puppy or whether it's an adult dog that we imported from Europe, that is absolutely not true. Each dog has its own individual set of character traits and drives and thresholds and sociability, everything. It's all predetermined by genetics. Training can improve upon some things. Training can shape some things or guide the dog in specific directions, but it's not going to change the fundamental nature of who the dog is. So a big part of this job is matching people to the right dog, matching clients to the right dog, talking about what is your life like? What is your daily life like? What do you have in mind for this dog? How's it going to share your life? And then when people explain to me that, then I can match them to the right dogs. I've had a lot of clients, hey, I want that dog. I see that picture. That's an awesome dog. I want that dog. And then we talk about their lifestyle and what they've got going on, and that's not the right dog for them. Right? So a big part of this job is matching, you know, the right people to the right dog. Because like I said, every dog is unique. Even litter mates. Even puppies from the same litter, they can be different from each other significantly. And one puppy can be suitable for one situation and not suitable for another. So it's really important, you know, whether it's imports or dogs that we've raised here in our own program, that we are selecting the right dog for the right job. Onyx. And Onyx is a perfect example of this, you know, like super strong dog, intense dog, but, you know, he would be, if I was to sell him as a 2-year-old dog, you know, to a personal protection home or situation, you know, he would be a great police dog, for instance. He would be, you know, a good dog for someone that has a very high-risk security situation. He's not maybe ideal for someone that has a lot of small children or a lot of people in and out of their home. In fact, he might be a liability in those circumstances because he's not naturally social. He's with people he doesn't know. He's intense, and you know, he's a fairly big, strong, dominant guy, right? So for some people, this would not be the right dog, and for some people, he would be the perfect dog, right? But you have to be careful, because not only are the clients spending a lot of money and you know, time, and then they're investing themselves, you know, emotionally in the dog. You know, it's for the sake of the dog. You know, any of us who are in the dog business, we owe dogs everything because they've given us everything. Even if it's not an individual dog, you owe the concept of dog something, right? The very concept, the very, you know, all dogs, you know, have an entitlement to respect and care from you. So it's really important to try to match the right dog with the right job. Now, when I hear about, so you have to understand, if you go online, you go on all these forums or these Facebook groups and stuff like this, you'll see people post the most crazy stuff about what a protection dog should be. You know, inevitably there's always some post about, oh, you know, like, look at this dog, look how much money they're selling it for. Onyx. And I'm not even referring to myself. I'm referring to people posting dogs from other vendors, right? And oh, look at this dog. Oh, look, he's not very good, and yet look how much money they're charging. They're hustling people. And I'm not here to say if they are or they're not. You know, I can only speak to my dogs. All I know is that sometimes when people sometimes when people tell me about some of the things that they're doing, you know, with like the training that they plan to do with a protection dog. Like I saw one decoy talking, like, he doesn't sell the dogs, but he's talking about how he tests the dogs if someone brings him a dog. Oh, I'll walk up to the owner and I'll whisper in their ear that I'm going to kill them, and then, you know, if the dog doesn't bite me, it's like, what? Okay, for sure. Some people need a dog that's tuned up to that level and that has that kind of mentality. Most people don't. right? Onyx. It's not realistic to their life. They're never going to have that situation. Hey, come, let's go. They're not going to ever have that kind of situation, right? And it would be irresponsible to sell them a dog like that, because that kind of dog would hurt somebody that's probably very close to them. You know, that dog would get them sued and so on and so forth. Point being, you know, there are so many people that have very busy social situations going on in their household. And a dog that, you know, is that unforgiving of someone making contact with the handler, a dog that is tuned to that level where he is basically ready to go anytime, any place. It sounds good in theory until you actually have lived with a dog like that and you understand what a potential hazard that is. Okay, very few people, including myself, and you know, if you know me, guys, you know I like them a little bit nasty. Okay, I don't want to live with a dog like that. You know, my wife's friend like walked in the house a couple days ago, and I was like, what in God's name are you doing? She walked in the house and you know, there was no warning, right? It's like stuff like this. It's like, you know, I've had family members come over and just walk in, you know, even though they know I have the dogs. And it's like, guys, you can't do, but people do these things. They forget, or they just don't really conceptualize what the dog is and is not. So, you know, for the most part, when we're selling these dogs to family situations, we're looking for a balance. All right. And that's what people don't understand is they're just all about making like these, you know, cool scenarios on video and stuff where the dog's just, you know, smoking people nonstop. And it's like, okay, that's impressive to the uninitiated. But the most important thing with these dogs is actually having something that's stable, having something that's not dangerous, having something that, you know, can do the job to some degree without actually becoming more of a problem than he's worth, right? And that's a big thing, you know. And people don't think about these things. They just say, oh, I'll do this crazy training and that. You know how many times I've seen dogs, good, strong dogs, they've had too much scenario training, right? And by that I mean they've been taught that biting is a possibility anywhere, everywhere, and anytime. And these dogs love to bite because they're strong dogs, right? And they've had all this scenario training, and the dog is a constant hazard. He's not a hazard because he's nasty or anything. He's a hazard because any little thing, oh, that guy's moving a little funny. Oh, that guy's wearing a funny hat. Oh, look at that guy with a mop. Looks like it could be a threat, right? Point being, until you've lived with dogs like that, you don't really understand the hazard you're putting people through. Anyways, typically for a personal protection dog, you want a dog that has reasonably high thresholds. That means they're not on a hair trigger, okay? They're forgiving. You know, recently I had a client, he bought a dog from me. It's funny, I spent a lot of time worrying about, you know, the dog's grips and fixing the grips and ensuring that he had the right mentality. You know, if somebody surprised you, and, you know, I do scenario-based training. I do realism-based training scenarios with the dogs, but we have to strike a balance, and that's what people don't understand. These scenarios they're describing, the only dog that's going to pass those scenarios is a dog that's on a hair trigger that probably already has bitten numerous people, okay? Unjustifiably. That is not the kind of high value elite level dog that you're going to be selling to clients for double and triple digits. It's just not going to happen, okay? So, you know, you have to understand, if you go on the internet and you see a lot of these cowboys talking, Onyx, come here, buddy. You see a lot of these cowboys talking, right? You have to realize these people are not in the business. They're not selling these dogs. And they're not selling these dogs because they don't understand the clients. They only know what they like and what they want, which is something obviously on the extreme end of the spectrum. And I like extreme too, within certain parameters, all right? But that's not what the client wants or needs. That's not the kind of the dog or training that the clients, you know, that typically come to us want or need. Now, there are some that want assassins. Like I said, I call those kinds of dogs assassins, right? And, you know, there are some people, they want a dog like that, but most people do not. Most people have small children. Like I said, they have busy social lives, so on and so forth. So whether you want to get into the business of selling, you know, top quality dogs that have advanced levels of training to people looking for some personal security and protection, you know, or, you know, you're in the market to buy one of these dogs, be very careful, because don't get me wrong, there are shysters out there. And that's the other thing. There are 100% people out there that will take advantage of you, and they will sell you basically somebody's used sport dog. And by that I mean, you know, the dog basically has bitten the hard sleeve in the context of a sport routine, and that's about it. And, you know, to you, because you don't know what you're looking at, the dog is doing a lot of personal protection. Plus, so, you know, you have to realize that that, of course, is not acceptable either. You know, there's a balance to be struck. And for us, with our dogs, we are always trying to strike the balance where we make the dogs deployable, we show the dogs realistic training scenarios, we ensure that the dogs are healthy and, of course, have a stable, strong temperament, but at the same time, we ensure that they're safe and that we're matching the right dog to the right person. You know, it's funny, I actually got into a little bit of a argument with my supplier in Europe. You know, we kind of got into it a little bit because he was mad at, you know, the demands and the criticism I was giving to him over the dogs that he was sending me. I'm really picky about dogs. I have literally lost thousands of dollars on dogs that have come here, and I said, you know what, this dog cannot leave my company with my name on it. This dog has, I can't associate myself with this dog, even though I'm going to lose, you know, $5 grand, 10 grand, whatever. I'm just going to sell this dog on a cheap to somebody who's going to, you know, keep it as the pet that it is. I'm not going to try to pass this dog off as some kind of, you know, protection dog or working dog in any category. So, you know, that's part of, you know, valuing your reputation, valuing the product that you put out there, which is really important. So for me, you know, and our program here, we're always looking for that balance. A dog that's deployable, you know, whether it's the suit work, the hidden sleeves, you know, the mentality, the emotion in the work. We're really looking to create that realism in the dog, but we're also not trying to give the wrong people the wrong dog. We're trying to give the right people the right dog. And that's a big part of our model here. And it's really worked very well for us. So anyways, that's my spiel on protection dogs.